Okay. All right, so you got the agenda. I sent a few backups this afternoon. So for the health insurance update, it's a no-go. I guess all the units were not in agreement with it. But we're gonna keep trying. Obviously, it's not gonna fly for 21, 22. But I do think that I think obviously it's beneficial for the district, and I don't think it's as detrimental as they're saying it is. I think it is a good plan, so we will keep working on it. It's a few $1,000,000, I think, that the potential impact that it could be for us and for the employees. But anyway, that's kind of where we are with it. I think, one of the interesting things that, Tom kind of pointed out was that these same people, the consultants they're going to, are saying, oh no, don't switch. And they're the same ones that support Case BP for other schools. So it's a little bit odd, but.
What are their specific objections?
I mean, depending on the unit, I'll take that, Richard. Thank you. There are, there, like one is, ambulance and some, long-term conditions that don't appear to have the same degree of support as we currently do. What's interesting to me is that, the teachers sent all of the materials that Lisa provided for them to NICE it. And of course, Tim Backus sent, theirs out to, CSEA folks. Many of their comments were very, very similar. And both came back and said, look, your unit will experience diminished coverage if you switch to Case BP. And of course, in both cases, my question was, well, how are so many other schools, that, are guided by NICE or the CSEA, how are they doing it? And Tim Moretti from the CSEA said, Tom, that's an easy question because we have no idea what we were comparing, what they were being compared to. What they were being compared to might have been substandard to Case BP at that time. But right now you're asking us to compare, Excellus to Case BP. And I'm telling you that we did our due diligence and our members would see, decreased coverage. So.
And it's funny because the consultant that works for, who wanted to be off the record, but he works for both plans, said, that the plans are very, very similar. And then if you go to Bassett and Fox, it would be better coverage. But so I don't know. We're not gonna give it up. We'll keep trying. And what I would like to do is actually ask the consultant who would have access to both, pieces of information to say, okay, here's what your members, and not have names or anything, but here's what your members have submitted for claims this year, and actually compare them with both plans and see what each plan would have covered with those. And I don't know if he can do that, but I don't know why he wouldn't be able to. Might be a little bit of work, but I would like to see at the bottom line, like, what the real issue is there, because they are pretty similar.
And I thought BT BOCES was also looking at an alternative.
Yeah, well, the one good thing that did come out of, well, I don't know if it did. There's a meeting March 2nd that I am signed up for, where they'll reveal, what they found when they looked at the Medigap plan. So they'll let us know then if they're going to let us offer that Medigap plan to our retirees age 65 and over. So that meeting is March 2nd, and I will be attending. And I'm hoping, if nothing else, we got some movement, I hope, in our own consortium for that, just exactly what you're saying. So The other thing that we do want to do is we're planning to keep that the retiree buyout on the table, and we'll send them letters. I'm thinking, unless you have any other ideas, just to offer them the one-time payout of $10,000. This next year, 2022, our individual premium with our current health plan is going to be $10,849. So we can offer them 10,000 or 11,000, which is about the same cost, what it's going to cost us, and get them off the plan for all years out, if they choose that option. But I can't, we have the letter ready to go. I can't send it out until I find out if we're going to be able to offer a Medigap plan, because I would have to put that option in there, I think. So after March 2nd, I think we can send those letters out. And I don't know what your thoughts are on the amount that we do the one-time offer for. I mean, I had 10,000 in my head just because that's about, what it's going to cost us anyway. And
Every
it's a
year.
pretty good chunk of change. Well, yeah, more than that every year. But $10,000 is a lot of money. So
we break even year one and save 10 thereafter.
yes.
Makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you can't get them off of without providing an incentive, then the question is, what's the right amount, I guess, and the timing of it.
What's that?
I guess the question would be the timing, and then how much you want to offer. But it's certainly our advantage to get them off and it doesn't do them any good to have duplicate coverage. Right?
Right, correct. So, and I'll shoot an email out after the March 2nd meeting to all of you so that you know if our plan is going to offer the Medigap. But I think I guess in my mind, I'm thinking that we would start, July 1st, but there's no reason, if we're just doing a buyout, there's no reason why we couldn't do it now, and just start it, April 1st or whenever they wanted to accept it.
Mhm.
First of any month after we offer it. So
I know you said this. What's their cost?
nothing.
Nothing. Well,
Retiree,
Yeah.
nothing. We pay 100%. And the cost for the individual plan next year, 21-22, is $10,849.
So I hate to start a negotiation where we want to end up. Because you have to think that they're going to come back and say, well, no, we should, so why not start at 5, knowing we would pay them 10. Well, I guess they're not going to be collectively bargaining with us. So
Yeah, they're not, I don't think we have to do any bargaining with them, right, Tom? You checked into that.
Yep.
They really have no rights other than it was in their contract that we offer them health insurance.
I was thinking that we could go in a little lower because a buyout for somebody who's not taking the health insurance plan isn't equal to what it costs for the health insurance plan. Isn't that right?
and it's cash in their pocket no matter what. They're not, we don't,
Right.
we shouldn't give them what we have to spend. Let's try and save a little money this year too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what are you thinking? I was just thinking that, to make it worth it, because they're not paying anything now anyway. So it's not a biggie. So I was trying to get to a good number where it would be kind of an incentive for them, but we can do lower. That makes sense too.
I mean, either 5 or 7,500.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is 5 too low?
I don't know. I mean, you make a good point, Bill. They might be like, you know what? maybe I can reach back out and ask for more. Or, I mean, but it is just straight cash in their pocket.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, why not try 5 and see what happens?
Are we
I
gonna
think that-
negotiate though with them? There's a lot of them.
No, we're not negotiating. There's no negotiating.
But if you present this as in these incredibly uncertain educational times, blah, 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 COVID, you can really support the district at we're willing to even kick in for you, maybe their heartstrings will be pulled a little and they'll be more apt to agree to it. I mean, and still get $5,000 for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I think you start with 5 and,
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, maybe if you really wanted to 55 or 59, people tend to round up, so they think they're getting $6,000. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
All right, so what are we settling at?
$55.
There you go.
55. All right, there we go.
$55.99.
I know, I feel like it's an auction. Yeah, let's.
Oh,
well, we certainly don't want to go back and forth here, so.
yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
we'll put
I would think that.
5,500 and see what happens. You may get nobody and you may get, people who really don't need it, and we'll take the 5,500.
I think, look, just what Jamie said, we uncertain times. It means nothing to your coverage. This is, this Medigap is equal. It's going to save us a ton of money.
Oh, wait. I was talking about just offering a buyout and not the Medigap. Like they would have a choice of the Medigap or the buyout, not both.
Oh, okay.
Because we want to get them completely off.
We don't know how much the Medigap is going to be yet, correct?
We don't, but I think if we are allowed to offer the Medigap, then we just tell them they're taking the Medigap because we're still providing coverage, but we're not going to give them the option. So they either take the Medigap, which will be cheaper, or they take the buyout, but not both.
Well, do we wait and see what happens with the Medigap and maybe we just say you're taking Medigap?
Yeah, and we'll find out March 2nd if they're even going to offer that. So that's why I can't really send anything out before that. But
Only
if
a
they,
week from now.
yeah. So I think I think we have to if we are able to do that, we have to kind of offer them that option. But I wouldn't give them both.
Which option?
Either you take the Medigap or the buyout. Those are your two choices.
Okay, so
But you said that if we have Medigap to offer, we can just make them take it.
We can, but then we're still paying something for them. If we can offer them $5,500 and not pay anything for them, that's even better.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they're going to take less coverage though for $5,500 one time though. Are you, do you? I thought I misunderstood as well. I thought the Medigap was going to be so much cheaper than the full policy. So we were willing to get them off the full policy and still make their insurance benefits whole by offering the Medigap. And we save the difference between the full policy and the Medigap.
No, sorry. No, there are two separate things. Sorry about that. And I guess if we moved to case BP, it would have been the same thing. They would have either taken the buyout or the Medigap. So, but not both. It would have been, but it still would have been, it's still going to be cheaper to have them on the Medigap if they choose to continue with health insurance through the district.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so why don't we wait until we know what Medigap is going to be before we make any decisions on
Okay.
how we want to.
Yeah, because then I might go back to 10 grand.
Okay. All right, so that's why I was thinking, 10, we have to make it worth it for them to not take any coverage.
Yeah,
Right.
And we would still save almost $1,000 this year, and then the total premium in years out. So I'll shoot you an email after that meeting. And then, we'll know what's up. And even if we have to make another finance committee meeting in between, we can do that. Okay.
is, back to the other health insurance discussion, can we ask the units for a listing of their objections to case BP?
Lisa's received a few of those, right, Lisa? Tim Nobling and Nancy and Rebecca?
Yeah, and I thought we addressed them, which I thought we were going in the right direction, and then they came back and said no. So I don't know what their specific after that, because I thought we addressed a lot of the misunderstandings. We sent out sort of a question and answer of everything that they were questioning.
Yeah.
And then they came back and said, no, no, no. And I didn't hear anything specific after that.
Well, it's hard to fix what you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it becomes a bargaining chip with
The
raise-
salary negotiations.
Yeah.
Your contract's up.
Mhm.
Yeah. How do we even
I mean,
consider
yeah, I mean, we have-
4% if we, and then they are costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars by,
Yeah,
maybe splitting hairs on their health insurance.
Well, the principals signed off on their agreement, and that is now out of there. They were adamant that that's not what the direction they wanted to go. So I personally, I think that this round, because some of the other things too that people were saying is we feel rushed. And Lisa, and when we were talking, we were thinking maybe we table this for now, but we don't give up on it. We keep pushing it. But
well, yeah, but if they can't give us specifics, we can't address it.
pretty sure they gave us specifics. And although Lisa did a great job and reached back out to, I never say his name right, Lisa, Mr. Kreis or whatever his name is, and responded, they, and it was across the board. So it is an interesting dynamic, and that's why I'm wondering if the timing, might have been playing a role in this as well. But
If we're years away from resolving this, we're, a year away from, running out of money, because I mean, they want to keep their insurance and they want raises, and we don't know the state of our budget, and it's a lot.
That's why I would like to reach out to the consultant and see if he can take a look at both plans, take a look at all the claims, no names or personal information, but take a look at all the claims and say, this is what was covered under your current plan, and this is how it would have been covered under case BP. I mean, I would love to see a comparison like that, to see if it's legitimate. I mean, maybe it is, but I just can't believe that it's that detrimental to them to switch. So I think, a side by side of actual claims might help, and if it's, $50 or $100 for, somebody else is paying more, well, I think they have to look at that collectively and say, all right, so somebody did pay, a couple $100 more, but for the most part, most people saved. So then maybe, we go for the greater good.
Well, yeah, and I just don't like you said earlier, how are so many other school districts switching to this case BP plan, and we seem to have our hands tied?
Well, they switched a long time ago. When we were afforded that same opportunity, but we didn't, because at that time, right, Lisa, there was a couple of things that, you
They
know,
wanted a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, and Case BP wasn't offering that, is what I was told, but now they do.
right.
So we'll keep looking at it, but I think a side by side, if I can get that, and I'm going to work hard to try to get that. If I can get a side by side comparison, I think that would be powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
Either to show us that, you know, that we're wrong, or to show them that, you know, it's really not bad coverage. So either way, I think it would be powerful to see.
I know one of the early questions was chiropractic.
Mhm.
Is that, and that answer was positive
Yes.
for coverage, right? So,
Yes. Yes. So I think if I'm remembering, and I have the document with the question and answers, but the ambulance coverage, you know, I almost think it was like you have to pay $50, and, you know, and you didn't have to pay anything before. But I mean, how much do you use an ambulance? And $50, even if you go 4 times,
you
you
know,
know,
Yeah,
I consider my health insurance to be the gold standard, and Monica got transported 15 years ago. It cost us $500.
I was just gonna say, I think Avery's ambulance ride 2 years ago from East Street to Fox Hospital was $700.
Yeah. Yeah, she went from Bassett on Main Street to Fox, and it was $500.
I think this is $50 that we're talking about, to be honest with you. I think it's $50. But I don't know. You know, we need to see the
Let's see
side by
that.
side.
I think one way or the other, that's going to be powerful.
And the other thing is, if we do find that it's costing, you know, that we're not getting them to switch because it's costing us, you know, or it's costing them $200, do we set up health savings plans, give them all $500 a year, and say, switch, we'll give you the $500 a year in your health savings plan, as that's what it's going to cost you extra, and then we're still saving money. So,
That's a
you know,
good
that
idea.
might be another option that we look at for the future. But, you know, right now, I guess, you know, they're right. It was pretty quick. You know, I thought we did it as quick as we could. We did as much as we could and gave as much notice as we possibly could. But it's pretty quick for something big like that. So we'll keep plugging away.
So, I mean, there's no, you know, I know our fiscal year starts July 1st, but I mean, we could switch anytime, right?
No, I would say if we switched, it would have to be either a July 1st or a January 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think any of the plans are gonna, well, and also we have to notify Broome Tioga. So you know, I'd have to find out. I know it was the March 1st for a July 1st change. So there might be some criteria in there for a January 1st change, but I doubt that we could do it in any other time frame. I would say those 2 dates are gonna be the keys. But we'll keep working at it and look at different options. Okay, and I will let you know then what happens on March 2nd, and then we can decide what we want to do from there, at least with the retirees. Okay. Okay, so the financial memorandum, we have the financial memorandum and an addendum. And I also added a spot on there just to briefly talk about where we are with the 2021-22 budget. So, because we should be talking about that at every meeting, and I just forgot to put the line on there. So those are the changes. On the financial memorandum before the addendum, we have the internal controls audit on there. We escaped that for the last year and just said, you know, we couldn't do it because of COVID. Honestly, it's an unfunded mandate. That's kind of, I don't know. I have my own opinion on that, but so this year we have to do it. We got the waiver for last year, and it's because we have over 1,500 students. So nobody else around us is doing it. But if you have 1,500 students or more, you have to do this audit. And it's $12,000, and basically they just update what they've already done. So we'll do it. And then for next year, Tom and I had discussed this a little bit, but we'll do an RFP and see if we have to still keep doing it. And I know that it comes up every year because it is an unfunded mandate that nobody wants to do. We'll do an RFP to see if we can get a better price on that. So right now, this is the auditor Swinar and Company that we have the contract with. So
Was that the
that's,
Stan Swinar?
yeah, Gloria
Bill?
Gibbon, you know Gloria
Gloria,
from NBT,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Years ago,
Yeah. So what they're gonna do that next week. She already started, we have already started sending them our paperwork and their requests. The repair reserve, let me just take a look at that. There's a small adjustment and that will bring us, we did an adjustment at the end of last year for the work that we had already done. And that was the removing the underground storage tank at the high school, closing the tank at Center Street, the Center Street parking lot work, Center Street roof repairs. We got the scoreboards, concession stand repairs, and the water treatment systems up to date with our new boilers. And so our total that we spent was just under 300,000. It was 294,097, which is a lot less than we thought. If you remember, we had 750,000 in the reserve, but we did pull some of that out for a capital project in the amount of 681,000 that we voted on. That project, we did pull out Riverside because they're not aidable at this point in time because they're already maxed out in their incidental costs. So we pulled that out. And this was repair reserve work that we had talked about before, but then we found that we could get building aid. So we're doing that as a capital project. And that is what you see the number 4 on there, the Smith Group. And that's the cooperative purchasing network that we're using based on a recommendation from the architect. And he did some research and, looked at all the costs and is recommending this for small projects. Just so you know, our purchasing policy already allows for us to use cooperative purchasing networks. This is really on there as just a formality to let you know that we're using this particular group, but it's already authorized in our purchasing policy. And then on the addendum, you see the recommendation to award the contract for that work. And that work is going to be repaving the bus garage down at the bus garage, which is the biggest portion of the project. The underground storage tank removals at Greater Plains and Valley View. And they're also going to do some work on doors at Greater Plains, Valley View, and also extend the vestibule at Valley View because we had to do some work inside the building to make it aidable. And then they're replacing the doors at the exterior doors at the bus garage, which are in very, very bad shape. So I think that was it, right, Tom? And that is going to be $454,000. So we're still going to have some money left over. We may want to talk about in future meetings, look at some of the repair work that we need done and see if it's not aidable, then maybe we do another public hearing to use some of the repair reserve for work that needs to be done that's not aidable, because we have funding remaining. So, okay. We also have the CBIZ on there, which is our annual fixed asset inventory evaluation. Some light fixtures that we're surplusing. And there's a budget amendment for a pool, a control, right? It's a control for the pool filtration system, and that's necessary for the operation of the pool. So, and that should be the last thing that breaks at the pool, I hope.
Well, that's been out there for a while now. Rich Baird and Tim Backus have really done a great job just, manually keeping the chemicals up in the pool. And, finally we had Fry Technology come through and, locate and quote the cost of the electronics that actually control the filtration system. So hopefully you're right. Hopefully that will be the end of that.
And yeah, so I think that'll take care of it. That's all inclusive. I checked with them and there's no, because the last time we had a price for something, right, from Train. And
Yep.
then that didn't include, they wanted to bring a crane in and, the shipping. And so anyway, this is supposed to be all inclusive, he says. Oh, and just to go back to that, the capital project that we're doing, that should, the last part of that should be done this summer. The bus garage should be done this summer. We have all the SED approvals, so we're hoping this small project goes much better than this past capital project. And they can do some of the work even over the breaks that we have. So, or the door work they can do after hours when the school is, there's no students in there. So I think this work is it'll be done pretty quickly. Okay. All right, so that was a financial memorandum. We did just touch on the capital project. And okay, so the budget development status, I have all the building requests in. There were actually, people were pretty good about not requesting a lot of stuff. They're really, mindful of the situation. And there were two, and I do have to meet with Tom. I was out when we were supposed to have our last meeting because my daughter had her baby early. So, but I do have to meet with Tom. There were two staffing requests, which is unusual because we usually have a lot. It was a special ed and an English. So we'll talk about that. But otherwise, the building requests, we're researching if we need to get quotes for certain repair work. A meeting with tech tomorrow. That's the only other big piece that I don't have. And I know, Bonnie's there's a lot of tech, but with the remote and the new softwares and the hardwares. And so she's been working really hard to get a lot of the quotes in. So I'm meeting with Bonnie tomorrow and trying to tie down some of that. Obviously, our budget is up right now with everything that I have in. It's up about 1.1 million, which is 2.72%. Obviously, we're not done yet. And that makes a 3.9% tax over the cap, and that's almost $769,000, and that's with using 1 million of fund balance. Also using the current proposal from the governor. So, we'll see how that goes. As any year, good year or bad, we're always dependent on whatever the state aid picture looks like. So once we find out what that looks like, we can go from there. The other thing we're missing, I know we have to talk about summer school and the transportation CPI. So I don't think that's going to be up that much. So I don't think that's going to go up a lot, but that number we don't have yet either. I think, and what I did send you, actually, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, but I was very confused, as I think a lot of people around the state were, why the governor put the star in our state aid. And now what we're finding is that, next year, if you look at I sent you our state aid proposal, which you've seen, and you see they have the local district funding adjustment, the negative, and then the COVID stimulus, the CARES package is the same exact amount. But what they're saying is, and there's kind of a picture illustration of understanding the star, is that he put that in there now because next year we're backfilling it with federal aid, but the year after, he's just going to start cutting the star. And he's calling it's kind of deceptive and baffling to me because the star is an individual taxpayer benefit. It's a benefit to me as a homeowner. And now he's saying it's state aid to the school, and it's not. But if he makes it state aid to the school district like he is doing here, and then he cuts that, we still levy the tax. Just say we levy $21 million. We collect minus the star exemption, and then they don't pay us. So we could be out almost $2 million. And that's right. That's deceptive because that's not a state aid. And now he's tying it to state aid. to get rid of the STAR program, I think, and on the backs of the school district. So anyway, we have to really watch that. But if that does happen, if that stays in there like that, I would like to, kind of lobby the state or something and say, can we create a reserve for this? Because we're going to be out this money. So we're going to have to, funnel it in from somewhere. So I think if that sticks, which I hope it doesn't, we're going to have to figure something out or create a reserve, because next year it's not going to affect us, but it will affect us hard the year after.
Does Peter Oberacker know about this?
I don't know.
He does. Yeah, we're meeting with legislators now once a month. So he's definitely aware. The School Boards Association is aware. NISCUS is aware. Everyone is lobbying and advocating, but we'll just have to monitor it and see.
Okay.
Everyone recognizes it as, clearly deceptive, even the Rural Schools Association. So, everyone's lobbying, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I was baffled at first, but it's, now I guess I see why he put it in there and tied it to state aid, because they can cut that even though it's not state aid to schools and call it state aid to schools. So yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. And I guess that the picture illustration shows the impact that it could have. And maybe I want to pull that up at tomorrow night's meeting, just to show what the impact would be. So, and that's only for the people who before the 2016, when you got the credit, if you were on it before 2016. So what'll happen for the people who get the credit instead of the exemption on their taxes is they'll just lose it, I think. The state won't pay it, I think. And then the other people will get the exemption, but it will never be paid to us, is my understanding of how that's going to work. So not good. But you see they're fighting those tax changes. But actually, if they have the credit, it's better for us, but it's not good for the taxpayer. So depends on how it's handled. All right, so that's where we are with budget development. And we just talked about the STAR impact and how the CARES funding is going to, another thing that I want you to be aware, because I know that there are some misunderstandings out there. There's the CARES funding is, I haven't seen the application yet, but I understand that it's a little bit looser than the last CARES funding. And basically what we did is we looked at our budget and said, okay, well, what will fit with this? Because it's, it's filling our state aid that we should have gotten for our general fund budget. So I know that a lot has to do with technology. And so the tech companies are out there saying, oh, you're getting all this money. It's 4 times what you were getting before, and you can get all this stuff with it. But what people don't understand is that that's filling our state aid. It's not extra money. It's money, the exact amount that the state's taking away, filling in with federal. So I think there's kind of a misconception out there that we're getting, all this CARES Act funding, but it's not extra money. It's money to fill our budget. So again, we're going to have to look at what we budgeted and make it fit that funding, not get additional $1.6 million worth of technology. So I just want you to be aware of that in case you hear somewhere about the CARES Act funding technology.
Say that tomorrow night too.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay. The only other thing I have is, that we are starting our internal controls audit next week, and we also just got the information request for our regular independent audit. So we're going to be starting that now too. So we have a few audits going on starting now. Okay. And I don't have anything else. I don't know if anybody else had anything you wanted to discuss. Oh, as far as the internal controls, she may be contacting some of you on the board, for internal controls, just to update the questionnaire. Gloria Gibbon. So if you hear from her,
Okay.
it's just our audit. Okay. All right. I guess that's it then.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
Have a good
everybody. Bye.
night. Bye.
You.
Take care.